Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Elevated Conversations about Health and Healing. It's Ellie, your host. Hello, hello. I feel like singing today. That must be my thyroid feels so good. I'm in the basement bedroom again. Yes, there we go. I'm in the basement bedroom again. Yes, but let me tell you, I got my good setup from Elevated here. So hopefully I don't sound quite as nasally. The much nicer microphone. So thank you, Jesus. Today, we are going to talk about kids' detoxification. And I am a big fan of, you guys just know this about me. I do gentle detoxes, pregnant, postpartum, for kids, for elderly, if they're in a place where they can handle it. I think that when we think of detoxing, it's kind of this fad word, at least in my generation, of just super aggressive, all out, tons of weight loss, etc. That's the goal with it. But when I am doing detoxification, because my drainage funnel is working, it's never overly aggressive, it's never unnecessary. I mean, we are just born and living in a metal, heavy metal, and chemically chaotic world. If we're not detoxing, we're not being responsible stewards of our body. If we're not actively trying to detox and drain, we are just accumulating shit within our body. So I said it. I said what I said. I think that the biggest load of bull that I hear from people is like, I don't need to think about detoxing. I have a liver and I have kidneys. And I'm like, yeah, you know how stressed your liver is? Because your standard American diet that's full of shit food and sugar and carbs that are from processed foods. That's the other thing. This is a little soapbox tangent. Yeah, I love Maha, you guys. I love the Maha movement. I do love it. I love that we are asking restaurants to cook food in beef tallow. I love that we're talking about getting food dyes out of food. I'm still not going to eat those foods most of the time. Like, I just think it's especially owning a restaurant and seeing the thin margins and seeing how hard it is to make money and how easy it is to lose money in a restaurant. If you're going to demand that of restaurants, just do it at home. Please. Like I just think our par levels of these things can be backwards and confused and conflicted. And if you're not willing to put in the work at home, and this is not everybody, don't demand a restaurant to do it and then complain about their prices. Oh, that struck a chord. That triggered me a little. Honestly, it's a tough market, but I see all of this, especially with some of the people I follow that are big influencers in the Maha movement. It's like they won't tell us if they're cooking in pure beef tallow. They won't tell us if they're using vegetable oils. Guess what? They probably are if they're not willing to tell you. But guess what? They're a restaurant that are trying to employ people. And they're probably not charging a ton, like these In-N-Out burgers and stuff. It's like, what do we expect of them? It's an In-N-Out burger. Do we want it to be healthy? Yes. Is it probably not going to be? No. So cook your burgers and your fries at home for the love. Oh my gosh. Okay. I digress. At any rate, I'm all about having realistic expectations around these things because the world is toxic. No matter where you are, yes, European standards so much better. Yes, the American generally recognizes safe list and the standard American diet. Shit. I've sworn too much in this podcast. I'm sorry. I'll try to reel it in. I'm just coming in it hot today. I'm a mom who's super passionate about my children and I have not been sleeping because of my children. And there's a reason for that. There's always a reason for that. I think there's a reason for every symptom the body is showing you. And if we ignore and normalize these symptoms at the rate that we are, we're going to end up with a chronically sick population. Oh, wait, we're there. Done. Do you hear my frustration? I am so sick of us normalizing sickness and then normalizing pharmaceutical intervention to band-aid that sickness. I say no more. I also am so sick of, especially now that the school year has started, and this is not a call out on any specific teacher. Okay, I understand your job is hard. That's why I'm not a teacher. I can barely handle the chaos in my own home. I don't think I can handle the chaos of a classroom of kids all the same age. The drama that probably goes along with it. We're feeding our kids crap breakfast foods For the most part, crappy lunches. And what I mean by that is very carbohydrate heavy, very little healthy fat, and very little moderate, maybe protein. We're starving their brains. And we're starving their cells. You give kids breakfast that's like a pat of butter and an egg and meat. Let's do an experiment, you guys. Let's see how well those kids can focus during school. Let's see their behaviors improve. I mean, come on. We're feeding them like Pop-Tarts and chocolate milk. How do we expect them to be able to sit still, especially for boys against their biology? It's just like so hard for a parent to hear that their child is not behaving. And it's also hard for them to be able to make cold lunch every day to make sure their kids are behaving. I sure don't. I believe that every behavior, every symptom, every sign is an indication the body's trying to tell you something is out of balance, offload. We got to fix it. I don't mean that to be an excuse for children's behavior. I mean it to be a reason to pay attention to those things a little bit more and then to figure out the root of what's causing that. We should care about ourselves and our kids enough to do that. And I also recognize not everybody has access to applied kinesiology wherever they are, but you guys, it is the most non-invasive and affordable way to do this for our children. Yeah, you can jump into doing some of these cleanses on your own, and that's totally fine. But AK is where it's at. I'll just leave it at that. I'm biased. So, okay. The other thing, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say it and probably be banned. We'll see. No, I don't vaccinate my children. A lot of you know that already. At this point in my life, you couldn't pay me to vaccinate my children. My older two had some vaccines, and they are definitely, I mean, the 1 to 2 children threshold is the hardest for sure. I always tell people when they hear I have 6 kids, like, oh my gosh, I have 2. We're debating having a third. I'm like, do it. The first 2 are the hardest. They're still the hardest. I love them so much. They had to teach me how to be a parent. I had to learn so much about letting go of pride, especially when it came to vaccines. One thing I have shared before, I have always had a check in my spirit about vaccinations. Always. I always said, I know that vaccine injuries are real, but if my child gets a vaccine injury, I'm doing the right thing for the population. Bull effing shit. How dare I be? How dare I be brainwashed that much so as to think that my child should be a martyr for the general population? If they're not dying for their faith, they don't need to be a martyr. That was so much brainwash from my schooling. 100%. Because if you don't if you don't vaccinate your children, you don't belong in the medical system. You don't belong in this educational system. You don't know enough to understand how good vaccines are. Oh, I am coming at this podcast sassy. I am sorry, you guys. Gosh, I wish Jenna was here with me. I just think I knew that there was vaccine injuries and I knew that there was vaccine awareness, like vaccine overload realities. And so I looked up the Sears vaccine schedule and I started doing that. And then after every vaccine that my kiddos would get, I would do Epsom salt soaks with chlorophyll in the tub. I would put bentonite clay in a paste on the vaccine site. If you feel good about something, doing something, you don't need to actively detox from it. Like, make it make sense. For the parents that are still on the fence, what I will say, look up alternative vaccine protocols. If a parent is on the fence and they're like, what would you recommend? Wait till they're 5 at least and their blood-brain barrier is developed. Please look up the vaccine schedule and how it changed. Don't come at me, your friend, your foe, saying, well, I got my vaccines and I was fine. Biddy, you got 12 vaccines. Your kid's getting 72. You get caught up. You tell me if you're fine. You won't be. You will not be. Heavy metals, additives and adjuvants. We've got toxins. We've got chemicals. The idea of vaccines is great. Really, it's very, honestly, very similar to homeopathy, in my opinion. When I think about vaccines and building tolerance in the system, although homeopathy is trying to drain something out, like uses like to remove, like uses like to trigger an autoimmune response. or an immune response in the body. That's what the goal was with vaccines. It's not a bad idea. The execution, not so great. So, no, you couldn't pay me to do that. I will run far, high, and far away if it ever becomes mandatory, or I will just hide on my little sheltered premises. I have seen so much in the 8 to 9 years I have been doing this. I have seen so many moms fighting for their children's health. Dads too, don't get me wrong. But a mother's intuition cannot be outbeat. A mother's drive to protect her child cannot be outdone. It simply cannot. This is why I think Mama Mary is so powerful. And I know not everyone who listens is Catholic, but is her drive to get people to her son, to Jesus through Mary, is so real. She loves him so much. She was his mother. She was the temple that held God. She only wants to direct people to them. She only wants to steward our hearts closer to Jesus. She only wanted to protect him on that cross. She stayed with him the whole way. Oh, the agony. For mom's suffering, look to Mama Mary. She knows that suffering and then some. And she is such a gift to us. And I think the more you learn about her and the more you learn about how Catholics, we don't pray to her. That's a whole other podcast for saints and all of the above, but lots of misconceptions. At any rate, wow, when you can have someone who can relate to you, why wouldn't you seek them out and learn more about them and steward that? Okay, Ellie, calm down. You have a podcast to do. So let's just talk about the necessity of detoxing and making sure our children's drainage funnel is open and working the way that we want it to. I mean, we're hearing more and more about microplastics. We're hearing more and more. We check lead. We need to be aware that binders or liver support or methylation are a must have in the world that we live in. They just are for adults and for children alike. When it comes to common symptoms that I see in children who maybe need a detox, the type depends on the stressors that they're dealing with, but I'll go through some high level today is agitation, irritation, tension in the body, trouble downregulating to fall asleep, trouble staying asleep, nightmares, vivid dreams, night terrors, bedwetting. What else? ADD, ADHD on the autism spectrum. That just tells me there's inflammation in the body and the brain. Our kids' bodies are always trying to protect them. And the more that we can take care of this detox and drainage funnel when they're younger, the cleaner their body's going to be, the more robust it's going to be, the more adaptable it's going to be, the more it's going to be able to bounce back. But you guys, there's like lead and arsenic in baby food. There's microplastics and toxins in your placenta, EMFs in classrooms, dyes in their food, high fructose corn syrup in their food. What isn't in their food, really? But ingestion has different protective mechanisms than injection. And so I think one of the top causes of toxin overload in our children is vaccines. And we're getting them when we're pregnant and we're giving them to our babies as soon as they're born. We're not looking at their liver's ability to process stuff hours old. We're not looking at any genetic abnormalities hours old. But we're going to give them this very nicely named vitamin K shot. I wish you guys could see my face. People on YouTube will see my face. I'm not amused by it. I'm not fooled by it either. I think the vitamin K shot, you guys, when Walker was born. Oh, okay. When Walker was born, I didn't do anything for Walker, obviously. I had a very healthy pregnancy with him. My healthiest pregnancy for sure was Walker's pregnancy. My most riddled with fear pregnancy was probably also Walker's pregnancy, but like I was in the thick of doing my AK training and I was I just was in a really healthy space physically, thank God. And I was in the space of learning and learning and learning about vaccines. I had given Anna vaccines up to 6 months. Wesley had vaccines, like 2 vaccines. We did one at a time, and then I'm like, I can't do this. And Walker, I just was dedicated to not doing any. And the poor hospitalist, pediatrician on staff came in And he was like, okay, I heard you declined the vitamin K shot. I just wanted to come in and talk to you and let you know you're probably not going to be able to leave as fast as you want to leave if you don't do the vitamin K shot because we need to monitor him for bleeding. I also want to let you know that I would just, do you know the risks of not doing the vitamin K shot? And after I had Walker, I had been dealing with some like postpartum discomforts myself. I was not in a place to be like talked down to. And I went off. I went a little sassy, like at the beginning of this podcast. I was like, the risks of not getting it? Sure, we can talk about that if you're willing to talk about the risks of getting it. I can name a few. The other things that I'd like to talk about is why would you keep me now when the risks of bleeding happens at day 6, 7 versus immediately? It's very rarely immediately after you wouldn't be able to catch it. I'll bring him to his well child checks. That's fine. This doctor, I mean, this is just a summation, short and sweet. Drew was holding Walker, anxiously patting his butt, like, Ellie, could you be nice? I'm like, don't you come up in here and tell me I didn't do my research and tell me I'm a mom who is not looking out for the best interest of my child. Don't you dare, sir. He escorted himself out. I can see you've done your research. No, we don't need to talk about those things. I mean, you know what you're talking about. It does really sound like you're quite passionate about it. Um, he was sweating. He was sweating. So kudos to that doc. I probably am seared into his brain as like the most outrageous mom ever, but don't talk to me about the risks of not getting it if you're not willing to talk to me about the risks of getting it. Can we go through the insert? I asked. His jaw. You had to like pick it up off the floor. At any rate, Drew was just an introduction of what Drew Boo has to deal with occasionally with me. You know that man, he's amazing. I mean, God didn't design these fragile bodies either. If we are adaptable, we are robust, we are resilient, but we are called to steward our bodies. We're not designed to just outsource them to everything. So that's why I'm so obsessed with making these podcasts, you guys, is because I want you to understand elevated can always help with your health. Integrative health practitioners can always help. But if you have a good practitioner, they should be educating you on ways you can help yourself. It's critical. It's a learning curve, but you can learn the biohacks. You can learn the things to do because this is something we're up against from birth. 287 chemicals. That's the average amount of chemicals found in newborn cord blood from EPA data. Not like 5 or 6. 287. These chemicals can contribute to ADHD, ADD, eczema, allergies, mood swings, emotional irregularities. These are signs of overload in a body. These are signs that a kid cannot articulate what is going on intentionally. Some adults can't even do that. Why would we have that expectation for a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old? It's not random happenstance behavioral issues. It's their body trying to tell you, I've got way too much going on. My genes can't handle this right now. You can't medicate that away. Most of the time, you can't even pray those things away. God can do anything. Don't get me wrong. But it is the same when we're dealing with addiction ailments. When the body is toxin overloaded, you have to actively do something about it. You have got to open the exit doors God designed. He designed our bodies to drain. He designed our bodies to detox, but they're overloaded from the get-go. 287 chemicals found in newborn cord blood. Good luck, little baby. Welcome to Earth. This is the other reason why I will never encapsulate my placenta, you guys. I just won't do it. The placenta is a catch-all. So people are like, you'll have liver, but not your placenta. Yes, the liver is not designed to hold on to toxins. Now, in some cirrhotic cases, it does. It is designed to eliminate them or excrete them to the gut through bile. That's a whole game plan. The placenta is a filter to protect your child. The placenta doesn't have an exit hatch like the liver has with the gallbladder bile ducts and into the gut and then out if you're pooping. So there's that. 287 chemicals in your newborn cord, probably more in your placenta. And we're popping that like it's our day job. If I know. So we have to set the stage for these kids, you guys. We have to set them up for success. We have to make sure that the symptoms that they're experiencing, we're not justifying because they need to detox or drain. It's still not okay to behave that way, but letting them recognize, like, yeah, you're like, for example, Anna, remember when she was on the podcast last year? She gets crazy when she has red dye 40. Absolutely crazy. It literally is like a middle-aged woman who has had 6 glasses of wine. Loopy, giggly, silly, over the top, high highs, low lows. It is scary, man. And we talk through it is not okay to behave this way, but it is also not you. This is what red dye 40 does in your brain and in your body. And this is why 9 times out of 10, you should choose to not have it. Getting that association in for children is really important because most of the time they realize that's not their norm. But if she would consistently have red dye 40 all the time, you guys, I would for sure feel like she needs some sort of medication. There's no way that is a normal reaction in a body. I'm so glad I know what I know. And I'm so glad I get to share it with you. Because if we're continuously feeding these toxins to our children and expecting them to behave in the way that society wants them to behave without slapping a diagnosis on them, we're going to lose. I don't want you to lose. I want you to win. And so we're going to work on that together. Okay. So detox does not equal danger, does not need to be aggressive. It does not need to be all or nothing. Detox is very intentionally folded into the design that God created for our body. Our body's naturally trying to detox all the time. We got to make sure the drainage funnel is working the way that we want it to. The body was built to detox. It just, again, wasn't built for this level of chemical we're dealing with from birth. 287 chemicals from EPA data. So, signs of clogged drainage that I always want to start with, not pooping every day. If you're not talking to your kids about pooping every day, start. Foamy pee, that can be a sign that the kidneys are stressed. Tummy aches, mood flips, sugar cravings, constant need to snack. That can be a sign of blood sugar irregularity. Obviously, kids grow a lot, but focus on protein, produce, healthy fat, even for kids, not just the treats that can feed the blood sugar stress, so that you can really help them optimize health and healing. Remember the drainage funnel. Go back to the podcast on the drainage funnel. Please re-listen to the podcast on the drainage funnel because the drainage funnel exists for everybody. Gut, liver, lymph, glymph, cells, organs. Organs, then cells. If it's not working, their skin is going to break out. So again, eczema, psoriasis, little bumpies. If your child is not pooping every day, you guys, you have to start there. They're not ready. Nobody's ready to do any sort of detox or cleanse if they're not pooping every day. How do you get your child pooping every day? I love castor oil in the belly button, castor oil and para 3 in the belly button, castor oil liver packs for kiddos. Easy peasy. They don't need to be longer. They can be like 5 minutes. Making sure they're getting enough fiber, electrolytes, all the same thing for adults. Super Aloe 250 is strong. So I've had parents open up and mix like a fourth of a capsule with electrolytes for their kiddos. Works great. You do not need a full capsule of it. You can pre-mix a big batch of it, like one full capsule with 2 servings of electrolytes and divvy it out over 4 days. But just like with adults, kids have to be pooping every single day. If it's closed off, if we're not pooping, detoxing becomes retoxing. You're just releasing toxins. You're trying to get rid of parasites. And where are they going? Crazy. All stuck inside. Claustrophobic feeling. Ew. The other thing, really quickly, that before we get into it is like pooping every day is really critical, and also making sure that your kids are hydrated is really critical. If cells are not hydrated, if we're not hydrating them with electrolytes and water, and they're not drinking enough water, their body just becomes saturated with toxins, and the cells can't passively detox the way that God designed them to passively detox. Okay, so pooping and hydration, top things for kids. Liver castor oil pack, close third, favorite, cheap, free. Get them pooping every day. So let's talk about easy ways to do maybe a metal cleanse for kids and maybe a parasite cleanse. You can't see metals. You can't see metals, but you can feel them. I often see and they're everywhere now, you guys. Like our cookware, our drinking, the water, the vaccines, the products, the deodorant. I mean, come on, man. Ew, they're just everywhere. Hair, getting your hair done. They're just all over. Again, this is why we just need to take a binder. It's just really important to be taking something to protect the body. Body Health has a great metal and chemical tox product that you could like just drop in the mouth. We're just testing a new product from Aegis, a new binder, Total Tox Binder. I like it. It's a interesting flavor. It tastes very earthy. So I was like, as I was taking it the other day, I'm like, how would I get my kids to take this? But I love it. It has spirulina in it, which is naturally heavy metal binding. Some great things that you can just naturally incorporate into their diet: spirulina, chlorophyll, all the green leafies. So, like spinach, arugula, making those green smoothies can be really good. Wild blueberries are great for heavy metal detoxing. So, kind of hiding the flavor with the blueberries and maybe a good protein powder, getting them to drink that every day. Easy. Kids love protein shakes. Putting the green leafies in different types of muffins, easy. Like make it cool. Hulk muffins, Hulk smoothie. What other things are green that kids like? I don't know. I can't think of anything. No Teletubby is green. Teletubbies aren't even a thing. Eden got an outfit this summer. Why I'm talking about Teletubbies from Target, Cat and Jack, and it's like that bright purple color, and it was like a colored bright purple outfit. And we're like, she looks like a Teletubby in that outfit. Me and my husband threw us way back. And you also have to remineralize. So I think it's really important to recognize the body will do what it can with what it has. A lot of kids are not getting great minerals, and so the body will hold on to metals as a cheap substitute. So as you pull out metals, you're naturally going to be getting rid of food that pathogens like. So heavy metal detoxing can come with different stressors, parasites, fungal elements. Remineralizing the body can help protect the gut, can help protect against the flare-ups. And it can also help with keeping inflammation at a low. So we often think of inflammation as bad. It's important to note that when you're getting bad things out, sometimes inflammation can be a side effect. By keeping your omega-3s high, supporting the body, it can really help minimize some of those detox effects by doing detox foot baths, Epsom salt foot baths, Epsom salt soaks. It can also really help the drainage pathway and get those metals out faster. Sauna, absolutely put your child in a sauna. Absolutely. Start with 1 minute for every year of age they are. And if they're sensitive to the heat, just have them hop out. Make sure they're hydrated. But for heavy metals, in my opinion, in my professional experience, few things work as efficiently as a sauna. And the studies show it, they prove it. Heavy metals with half-lives of 14 to 16 years, like cadmium in the liver and the kidneys, start to be excreted within 2 sweaty sauna sessions in a sweat scrape analysis. Yeah, sauna. It's so good. So good. So I love to make sure kids are getting good minerals. I love to make sure they're getting their electrolytes. CT minerals, you can rehydrate that with water from CellCore. Mixing CT minerals with a binder and having them take it like in a medicine syringe is an easy way to start to pull that out. The other thing, if a child is dealing with more of the autism spectrum, ADD, ADHD, although I don't diagnose or treat or prescribe, and this is not medical advice, I would say that mixing BC-ATP from CellCore, HMET binder from CellCore, and CT minerals all together and putting it in a medicine syringe and kind of just trickling that in a kiddo throughout the day, man, wow, watch out. And then front loading tuna and choline, tuna chewable and choline, having kids take that at the same time. What's happening when we do that? So BC-ATP is direct mitochondrial support. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It generates ATP, highest concentration in the brain. Woo, high level. There we go. So BC-ATP is directing that HMET binder to the brain. And then from there, the HMET binder is pulling those heavy metals out of the blood-brain barrier because it has the capacity to do that. And then from there, the CT minerals is remineralizing those metals we're taking out so that the brain cannot suffer from inflammation as you're pulling that out. And then from there, we're supporting the liver and gallbladder and methylation process with choline. And we're also supporting the body's ability to digest and absorb fats with the choline. And then when you take the tuna, because it is so nourishing for the brain and so anti-inflammatory for the brain, it's a game changer. It is such a game changer. That protocol alone is probably my favorite way to handle heavy metals in kids. And you'll know if you're going too fast. So like premix one of each of those BCATP, HMET, CT minerals, scoop it up in a syringe like a what you would give cough medicine in. So just enough water to do that. It's going to be concentrated and just squirt it in your kid's mouth, have them follow with water. Guess what? Kids are not going to like supplements right away. And do you know what I say to that? I don't care. If you There are people who will wrestle through getting their kids to figure out how to take medication. If you actually want them to heal to the root, wrestle through how to get them to take their supplements, you guys. It's worth it. Because when they start to feel better, they will be so compliant. My kids are the best at reminding me when they need their supplements. The best. Wesley, especially. He gets really agitated if he does not get enough Spanish black radish in a day. And so he brings over his choline, Spanish black radish, tuna, IS bore. Mom, can you dose me? He's just like his dad, always keeping me working, even when I'm at home. So I love that. That is like my go-to. Take it slow. Don't go fast. Work in dietary patterns that support heavy metal detoxification. Again, those greens are some of the best for it. Wild blueberries, so good for it. Liver, so good for it. Support the liver. And reframe detox symptoms. A rash is not the body trying to rebel. It's just trying to release something that might be a little bit blocked up, and it wants to do it efficiently because kids are adaptable. Ideally, if the drainage funnel is open and working ideally, you're not going to have that. But a rash could be saying you're going too fast, slow down a little bit. And mood swings, like we need to get to the root of the mood swings because I know they get old, moms. I know they get old. But it's biology trying to tell you something is not right. So again, are you going too fast? Do you not have enough good fats? Are we not getting enough minerals? I say emotions are usually high highs, low lows, not enough fat, too inflamed. Focus, attention, retention, not enough fat absorbing. Headaches, not enough minerals. Okay, so then from there, as you're starting to pull out metals, you will have parasites come up. And I love doing small full moon cleanses with my kids. It's just so efficient. During the full moon, it's all that light, that increase in light, serotonin spikes, melatonin dips, parasites become more active in our body. We feel that too. Anxiety goes up, lack of critical thinking ability goes down, and just high highs, low lows. Teachers feel it, people who work in the emergency rooms feel it. Let's just talk about it and then start to clear out those parasites. So for older kids, if they can swallow pills, just do a super gentle 3-day full moon cleanse. Pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, biotoxin binder. Simple. Rogers Hood has a great liquid option for kiddos that we've used quite a bit at Elevated. Energetics has like amoeba cord, paracord, spectramin, so liquid minerals, all of the liquids that can be really helpful. I would say if you don't know where to start, Rogers Hood can be great. You can go on and order those products. We have all the CellCore products. Rogers Hood is a direct link, so I can put the code below. That way you guys have it. But everything I'm talking about, we have it Elevated. If you're not working with a practitioner, I would start. But just know you can start with therapeutics too and see huge differences. Therapeutics I love for kids. We have a gentle therapeutics package, but PEMF, sauna, foot bath, man, so good for them. If they're high-strung kids, salt cave, get them in the salt cave, get that salt into their body, get them inhaling it. It is so amazing. Full moons can really show some of the things that are lingering under the surface. It's not always necessarily parasitic. Sometimes candida or fungal elements can flare during the full moon too. Mold symptoms can be exacerbated. But in general, paracleanses I look at as not just for parasites. I look at them for dysbiosis within the gut. A lot of the herbs that they use in these products, they're not just for parasites. They just happen to work really well for parasites. And it's a good way to market them. Like, this is what you're dealing with. This is what I can help with. But it can often help with just reestablishing a healthier gut microbiome. So I'm a huge advocate for kiddos doing quarterly parasite cleanses, light, 3 days, day before, day after. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It doesn't need to be like all day. It doesn't need to be fasting. Just get those products in to clear the gut out. All disease begins in the gut. And for kids, we want to make sure that we're rebuffering that gut in such an intentional way. I've talked about this on my Instagram. I'll talk about it really quickly. One of my favorite things recently for kids is the SP biome test. It is such a great, easy test to see what the gut is missing. I'm not even looking at it essentially for what is going on in the gut. Yes, that's super helpful too. But guess what? We find that with muscle testing every time. There's very rarely a surprise that comes up on these tests when it comes to stressors. But what I can't find with muscle testing as well is what is this gut missing? What are the strains of probiotic within this gut that are missing that will be the most intentional way to replete? Because sometimes people take a probiotic and it's not doing crap in their body. And probiotics are expensive, and that is so frustrating and so stupid. So, making sure that we're repleting in the most intentional way is so good. And that's why I love it. It's like $120. It takes like 4 weeks to get back. Eden's skin, such a game changer when we stopped just attacking Candida and started folding in the good bacteria her gut was missing. Oh, it's been so good for her. So good. Listen, fight or flight mode matters for kids too. You're not going to be able to easily detox, just like with adults, a kiddo whose nervous system is in fight or flight. Get them laying with their legs up the wall. Have them practice breath work with you. How you regulate, mama, your kids regulate. If you're not taking time to regulate, they're going to be watching what you do, your actions, reactions, and they're going to learn that too. Ugh, such a hard job teaching these kids, teaching us how to be parents, how to regulate ourselves, our emotions, etc. Just ground, especially as you're going through the thick of wanting to detox. It's not always pretty, it's not always linear. Healing never is. But when you give them the autonomy over their body to be able to talk about their symptoms with you, to be able to relate it to the things they're doing, eating, watching, reading, it provides a freedom for them to realize they don't always have to feel or react in a certain way and that they do have room and space for healing. And God designed their body to be so good and to heal in that way. And why their body is revved up is it's just trying to show them something is not right. How smart is our body? So teaching them that, like, I understand you're frustrated. I'm frustrated that you're frustrated. I know this behavior is not okay, but I also know there's something bigger going on. We're going to figure out what it is to help you feel better. What a gift that is. Acknowledgement, trying to figure out what you can do from there. If we can start this detox process and make it normal for our children and ourselves, we are raising kids who are going to recognize when something is not right in their body. We are going to reset the tone for healing in America, I believe. And I want to do it. Got a mission. Impact 100,000 lives over the next 5 years. And I want to start with the family. And I want to start with the moms and the kids. The dads, they're a bonus. They're a bonus. Dads, I want to help you too. But man, I just think when our kids are unwell, we are unwell. And we are unwell and motivated to get them well. And we are unwell and we are on our phone trying to figure out how. And we are unwell and we're trying to give them the attention that they need and our other kids too. And when they are unwell, it's just this pattern for our home and for our nervous system and for our regulation. And man, it's heavy. So, Mama, I see you. You are doing such a good job. God designed these little bodies so perfectly, and yours too. They're just talking to us. They're trying to tell us something is not right. So, I hope this was helpful. I want to keep them a little shorter and sweeter. Let me know what more you want to know because this is a topic we could talk a long time about, and I want to make sure I'm making the most of my time and yours. Sorry I was sassy, but I can't say that's going to change. And in the meantime, big blessings.